Link engaged.
Visit us at TeamSpeak.com.
Welcome everyone to TL Open number 19, sponsored by TeamSpeak. Here we are in the Foreigner version of the bracket on Metalopolis, spawning in the 9 o'clock as the blue Terran is imba.Strelok, apparently donning that imba tag. And in the 6 o'clock, close by air positions, the Panzer General himself, it is ESC.GoOdy. I believe this is going to be a fantastic TVT, isn't it, TLO?
I'm looking forward to it. TVT, one of my favorite matchups, and I like the spawning positions. Close air always makes for an exciting beginning, and it can turn into a long game anyways because you can split the map so nicely on Metalopolis. So exciting beginnings into long games can be expected here.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because a lot of people focus on the drop positions, and I feel like you see close by airs, the obvious thing you see is close drop positions, but I feel like 9 times out of 10 it doesn't pan out like that. How it actually does play out is that we have these quick rush distances, as you said, and after that kind of calms down to the mid game, both players take their third, then we don't see this left lane used so much. We see players sit more so in the middle, controlling the eastern lane as well, so you can't get access to these 4 expansions in the top and the eastern side, and then drop play becomes pivotal. You can swing in with 3 or 4 medevacs and really start messing your opponent up.
Couldn't agree more. You have to know that on Metalopolis, if you spawn cross position, your third base, not really but kinda, expands toward your opponent, while in those positions, if you actually take a third base, it's as far as possible as it gets to your opponent's third base. And I think that's a notable thing about this map actually.
Yes, absolutely. We see both players starting off fairly standard barracks, both going to finish at 15 supply, both going to begin their orbital commands now, beginning a marine, and both players mining off 1 refinery. They also both took the direct scouting path, or excuse me, did Strelok actually scout, or let me put on his vision, no, he hasn't scouted, so that's notable.
Well, a lot of people actually don't scout in TVT because you can only be in there as long as there is no marine in there, right?
Right.
What you usually only can scout is no gas or gas. And almost everybody started playing gas again for some reason. I don't know really why, but a lot of people just don't do it anymore. What I do these days is actually just scout with my barracks after I build for marine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, if they both go for starport tech, then that factory is going to be nice to just float over. And we can see Strelok beginning that in the bottom of his main. He may be thinking about floating for Hellions or floating for scouting. Meanwhile, GoOdy obviously going to be using that factory, so he wants to keep it in his main.
Yeah, and he is getting a second gas and the tech lab on his barracks, so we can almost certainly assume he's gonna go for Banshee.
Banshee, no tanks. We'll have to see. Strelok getting the reactor onto that barracks, showing us that he also wants to start off with a tech route. Going to be dropping that starport as well. Let's see what he does with the factory. Getting a Hellion out before using it in any other way, so this could be some sort of drop play from him. He's got both refineries going. No, it's actually not going to be a drop, I don't think.
No, it's probably just going to be... it's kind of strange getting flame like he does.
Yeah, I'm surprised he got the Hellion out first before getting the add-on, but maybe he wants 1 Hellion out for map control, and then he's going to swap out the starport with the tech lab for Banshee.
Yeah, it makes a little bit sense, I guess. Now a pretty late starport comes there,
right?
For GoOdy, and it looks like a blue flame drop. Like anything else would be ridiculous from here.
We'll have to wait and see as GoOdy has his Hellion out, trying to chase down the Strelok Hellion, and we've got a bit of old school biker wars going on, or excuse me, quad wars going on. Not much scouting going to be done by these Hellions. They just give a little bit of comfort, a little bit of map control, and now Strelok is bringing all of his units back to prepare for any sort of drop, which he thinks is coming. He is beginning Cloak and beginning his first Banshee. He's also got the tech lab on the factory, so he can follow up however he likes with the factory afterwards. Scan dropped. He's going to be able to see the starport, I believe. Let me throw on his vision. Yes, he is aware that the starport is up.
And he also saw the tech lab, I believe, and the saw it blinking, so he knows what's coming, basically. Very tense moments coming up now. Cloak Banshees on the field and the Blue Flame Hellion drop, so there is a potential for a lot of damage being dealt in the next minute. Both players, actually.
Yeah, and looks like GoOdy is going to do a bit of an elevator. He's got his Marines. He's going to drop in and then use the Hellions to poke in. Meanwhile, Banshee in the main base going to work on GoOdy's SCVs, taking them down very quickly. Strelok is. Here goes the drop in Strelok's main base. That's going to be cleaned up very easily. Blue Flames not able to reach and help with that drop. Now he's loading them in very dangerously. But GoOdy is going to get the Hellions into the main base of Strelok, and that's trouble for Strelok. Meanwhile, in GoOdy's main base, the SCVs are going down. This Banshee of Strelok has 15 kills now. Viking finally coming out, but the Viking is very lazy as the Blue Flames run into the main base. The SCVs try to jam up and take that down. He's got a tank out, so Strelok is now safe in his main base. And oh my god, it's a 1 Banshee KO.
Wow. That is so weird, especially as it's an uncloaked Banshee. I can't believe what's just happened here.
It looks like Strelok may have been unaware of what was going on exactly as the replay continues. Very strange that Strelok wasn't even forced to use his cloak there. GoOdy just giving it up after realizing his Blue Flame didn't inflict enough damage. Yes, he was behind, but the wheels really came off for him there, TLO.
Yeah, GoOdy being extremely slow on his drop too. When he saw all those units right at the drop, he should just have decided to go back and call it a day and come back later on. And considering that he actually went for a pretty fast starport, not having a Viking against the Banshee was a pretty huge blunder too. His build was just delayed in so many points that it added up to a catastrophe more or less.
Yeah, it's true. Let's spend a minute and talk about that, because typically when you have the Blue Flame drop, you don't have all those Marines out and dropping them in first. You just rush in, you accept that you're going to lose the Hellions, but you get the 3 Hellions out as soon as possible, and then you can use the starport to follow up with a Viking, which is well-timed against the Banshee. We saw everything was just delayed for Strelok, as you said. He had all those Marines, which essentially did nothing. Blue Flames were alright, but late, as you said, and he did have a Viking out to deal with the Banshee, but extremely late.
Yeah, didn't make much sense to me actually, and I'm not sure. GoOdy's getting 2 gas so fast, but it doesn't make sense. Like, he had so much overgas actually. I'm looking at the replay again now, and he's at 540, and he has 1 factory. He already is upgrading the Blue Flame. He has a starport building, but he has 200 gas. So that doesn't make any sense. He didn't even have enough minerals to build a starport right away, but enough gas anyway, so build order was very flawed.
Yeah, and I mean, you do need the 2 gas to go up to Cloak Banshees to not miss those timings, but as you said, it was just off a little bit. He ended up switching into tanks and only making the single Banshee. But anyway, there's no photographs on the scorecard. Strelok takes it 1-0, and looks like game number 2, we're going to be taking it over to Shattered Temple. Going to be an interesting set for TVT. If they spawn cross positions, a lot of opportunity to sprawl out, get the gold base, and really enter a macro game. If they spawn close by air, then dropping becomes a bit more viable on the map. So I'm going to be watching closely when we load up the game for game number 2 to see where they spawn. And TLO, I am loaded up and ready if you are as well.
My computer is bugging out a little bit, but it's actually Nazgul's computer because I'm staying at his place right now, so I'm gonna give him the blame, but here I am.
Oh my god, Nazgul. Trying to run a multi-billion esport dollar company, and this is what we get. So I'm gonna spend this time to say a big shout out to all the TL crew, all the TL referees that helped make this event possible. It takes a lot of refs to be available to run a 1,024-man tournament, especially early in the morning. So big shout out to all those guys who were available to make this thing possible.
Yeah, you cannot actually thank those people enough, like at every event, because being an admin or a referee is like the shittiest job ever. You always get shit from the players if something goes wrong, and you never get any credit for anything.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a match finish and the players go like, "Thank you very much, referee, for handling all our issues. It was a pleasure."
No, I make sure if I win a tournament, and then any time I'm gonna thank the head referee.
Absolutely, and again, thank you to all the streamers as well. This morning I woke up, did my typical hungover routine. So there was something like a dozen streamers on at the very first round, and saw Destiny get taken out, and I was very disappointed. But life goes on. How's that Nazgul computer working?
I'm in. Sorry, I should have mentioned.
The banter is complete. We're going to be moving on to game number 2 right after this.